The third one is we have true passion for active exploration, and that's because we are a family company where the family is actually very passionate to go on our trips, and they used to lead our trips, probably quite similar to an Adventure Canada. And although in expeditions it's hard to differentiate on product, because especially in Antarctica everyone has more or less the same itineraries. We try to be unique in a lot of different ways. I mentioned the marathons, I mentioned the lodges. I think, and that's why I focused my presentation a lot on the Ocean Victory. I think the Ocean Victory will be absolutely a unique ship in the coming years. And if you talk about the Arctic, there we certainly have some different itineraries than others. We are logically, with our origin, more focused on Greenland, where we offer a wider choice, both from smaller, shorter trips, longer trips, shorter trips that can be combined with our own land arrangements, with our own hotels, etc. So if you talk about the perfect expedition product, and very interesting discussion actually to have with you, because you sell a lot of different expedition companies, but I always say you can differentiate the companies on four aspects. First of all, and that's the right top corner, it's the hardware, it's the ship, where you can go from a ship like the Ushuaia, which is probably at the lower end, or the old Polar Pioneer, although it's not operating anymore. So on call it the 2-star level, to the Scenic Eclipse now, which is completely at the top end. And then you talk about hardware features like number of restaurants, facilities on board, space on board, etc. Then on the right below corner, it's what I call the software on the ship. So the food, the hotel staff, the activities on board. And here you can have, again, completely different perspectives. You know that Oceanwide is quite basic on this area, while and Silver Seas will excel in this area. The left below corner, you've got the expedition feature, so the activities of the ship. And I think I can proudly say that my old company, Quark, excels in this area, while a company like Pornal probably struggles in this area. And then let's not forget, price is important, maybe not for all customers. So the top left corner, the price probably ranging again from an Ushuaia product to a Silver Seas. So and it simply depends on your customer what is important for them. So you cannot say, well, the perfect expedition product, that's the title of this slide, but the perfect expedition product actually doesn't exist, because it's different for every customer. But what we are trying to do as Albatros is to find the middle ground in all aspects. So especially with the Ocean Victory, we think we have we have a ship that belongs probably to the top 10 from a hardware perspective. From a software perspective on board, we will have 2 restaurants. Our food will be similar to Quark levels, I think a notch up, so a Quark Plus. So in that sense, probably belong to the top 5, 6 operators on software on board. From an expedition perspective, we are aiming to belong to the top 3. So have a wide choice of activities, take everyone off, maximizing the time of the ship. And from a price perspective, we also aim to be in the top 5. So all in all, again, I'm mentioning excellent value for money. I think we will be offering the best value for money actually in the industry. When I talk about the Ocean Victory, there's a lot of technical details, and they are mentioned here. And usually this is the boring slide that everyone thinks like, yeah, I understand. Let's move on. The simple thing that I want to draw your attention on is the length of the ship. This is only 104 meters. And compared with the length of the other ships that you'll be selling, probably the Ocean Nova is, I guess, the smallest one, which is around 80. So this is just a little bit bigger than the Ocean Nova. And if you compare it to the other ships that you will be selling, they're probably all around 120, 140 meters, which means this ship is very compact designed. And I will show you later that is not at the cost of features and cabin comfort. It's just an extremely smartly designed ship with the benefit that everything will be easy to get around. There will be no lines, it's not difficult to find your place on board. So what we aim to achieve is, yes, it's a modern luxury ship, but it should still have the old feel of the old smaller expedition vessels that are unfortunately one by one dropping out of the market. If you're now, I'm sure you also sell Aurora, and I'm sure the Aurora people have presented to you. So there's a lot of things that I probably don't have to explain in details, because Aurora has done an excellent job selling it. But if you look to the Ocean Victory, what are the unique features? It's definitely the patented X-bow design, Norwegian patent, and it will help with a more comfortable ride. Aurora went a bit I think, too aggressive, saying this is the no seasickness ship. I've seen some articles about it. Well, that will there is not such a thing as a no seasickness ship, but the levels of seasickness on this ship will be significantly less. And also what we are already offering is, if people get seasick on the ship, we will offer free medication and free care of the doctor, because we know it will be significantly less. But there's other benefits of this bow as well. It has now proven that it can maintain the speed of the vessel in rough seas. And think about that. If you have an unlucky drake, a rough drake, with regular vessels, you have to slow down. You have to slow down to at least get a little bit of an acceptable ride across the ocean. And that will lead to delays. That will mean that you will arrive in Antarctica later, that you will miss landings as a result. Well, the new X-bow designs have proven to maintain speed, and you arrive quicker in Antarctica. We don't have to change schedules, change landings, and I think that is a big benefit of this vessel. Rolls-Royce zero speed stabilizers. So as you probably are familiar with, all vessels have stabilizers nowadays. Nice for the comfort of our passengers, but none of them work when the ship is not moving. And these very unique stabilizers, they will work when the ship is not moving, which means that just before Zodiac operations, the ship will be way more comfortable than any other vessel. But also that you are able to operate Zodiac operations in more challenging circumstances. So we can claim that we can operate Zodiac operations, landings in different circumstances than the standard ships. Dynamic positioning is another very expensive word that is used in the industry. It's also called virtual anchoring. A lot of technical things that you can say about this, but to explain it very simple, this means that the ship can maintain its position without using an anchor. And think about it, that delivers, again, a lot of expedition benefits. You are quicker and easier to operate Zodiacs, again, in challenging circumstances. It is better for the environment. Just think about that you meet a group of orcas on the way, and the expedition leader decides to get out on Zodiacs to observe the orcas from closer. So you can do that quicker, easier. You don't have to use the anchor. You don't have to use the sound of the anchor that can, again, disturb wildlife. So it's a technical feature, but that has huge expedition benefits. Safe return to port. Fortunately, this is a feature that is implemented on more and more ships. It's obligated now to implement on ships above 120 meters, which means that officially we could have asked an exemption on this feature, but of course we don't, because safety is everything, especially something that we see now in current times. So although our ship could be excluded from this, it has safe return to port. And what safe return to port means, just very simple said, is that every essential element of the ship is duplicated. So if your engine room is taken out by flooding, then there's a second engine room. If your kitchen, your galley is taken out by a fire, there's a second galley. And this is one of the features that I really like. If your bridge is taken out, for example, by a freak wave, there's a second bridge. And the second bridge of our ship is actually in the observation lounge, observation bar on the top deck. And if I show some pictures later, you will see that there's a very strange box in the middle of the lounge to the front. And that's actually a box that can be uncovered. And from there, you can steer the ship in emergencies. A simple, stupid, almost feature, but so important, I think, as if you're a true expedition company, is that you have zodiac loading positions on more than two sides, no, 2 points. So most of the vessels you will see can disembark from both sides, but they only have one door. Which means if you have 180 passengers on board, that it takes really long to disembark. So we can disembark from 5 positions, 2 on each side and 1 at the stern. Pragmatically, you will never use more than 2 or 3 positions, but this will give us that we can embark and disembark everyone from the ship in less than 30 minutes. And that is the same performance as the old classic 60 to 80 passengers expedition ships has. So yeah, I would say another feature that has survived from these good old times that established the industry. A lot of people talk about ice class, and also more and more ships are now built on ice class 1A, which is the highest ice class before going into ice breaking capabilities. Our ship has 1A, and that is yeah, that is at least as high as many of our competitors. The X-bow, so I talked about it, but here you can see in a picture the difference between an X-bow and a regular design of when you encounter some waves. So it is a very good feature to have. So the ship, and here you see a lot of claims, features of the ship. If you have the Greg Mortimer in mind, then let's just talk about how we are different versus the Greg Mortimer. There are a couple of important differences, and the first one you see completely in the back on the aft. We have an infinity swimming pool, and where Aurora they actually have here a helicopter deck, so they can have a helicopter landing here. They don't have a helicopter hangar, so I'm not sure if they ever really plan to operate helicopters. We think that helicopters are in certain ways they are cool, but we think this vessel is not not built to have helicopters. It's not big enough. And the other thing is, and this is my personal view, is that if you try to be sustainable, if you if you really try to be caring for an area like Antarctica, I think we should ban helicopters. It sounds very cool, I know, and activities like heli skiing, it sounds fantastic. But really, I mean, we talk about Antarctica, where one of the best features for me, it's the silence, it's the sound of the animals. And what I'm really afraid of is with ships, with more ships with helicopters, that you can hear from, you know, a long distance, that they will just disturb wildlife, the area, and also attract attention to our industry that we don't want to have. So we will not operate helicopters, but we have built a really nice, relaxing area there with pool and jacuzzis. So if you then go to the Greg Mortimer, and where the Greg Mortimer has the jacuzzis on deck 8, you will see that we have something that is very much glass enclosed. And here we have established a second restaurant. So we will operate a regular restaurant and a specialty restaurant on our ship. Um, it's a restaurant where we will offer lava stone cooking, so a very much interactive and healthy cooking ability. We have 46 seats in that restaurant, which means every cabin can use it at least once. Our suites will have unlimited access to the restaurant, and then any, you know, leftover seats, they will not be sold. They will be available on a first come first serve basis. The other feature that you will see, that on top of this glass enclosed restaurant, you see another observation deck. So we have an extra observation deck, what we call deck 9, the bird's eye view. Then you will see in the front that we have a couple of extra windows in the hull, where the Greg Mortimer is completely steel enclosed there. The windows are as strong as steel, so they're completely safe. And those are the most important differences. The other thing is that we have our number of suites is lower than the Greg Mortimer, and we have more cabins. We have more regular cabins, which means that our maximum capacity on the ship, if we sell every berth, it's 185. So we will have more passengers on the ship, but that results again in a significantly lower price versus the Greg Mortimer. So again, from a value for money perspective, I think we will be unbeatable in our offering. Some pictures. So here you can see our cabins. Everything comfort class certified, and comfort class only says something about noise levels and vibration. So we can proudly say we have the lowest amount of noise and vibration in the industry on our vessel. You can also clearly see here our design, which is very Nordic, which means nice, clean. It's not over luxury, so you will not see your typical crystal cruises or scenic, you know, over delivery on design elements. This is our regular restaurant. And this is again showing our specialty restaurant, where and maybe it's fun to say, so we are very proud of our Nordic roots, and the reason why we chose this cooking method as our specialty restaurant method is that it actually is originated from the Viking times, when they cooked on hot stones. So it has a little bit to do with our cultural heritage. But it's just fun. It's interactive, and it's very delicious. So this is how the specialty restaurant will look like. 46 seats plus also outdoor seats. So this is also the place where we will do our polar barbecues. We have some suites on board, and to compete also on the luxury level, we will be offering some special features over here. Like I mentioned, that unlimited access to the specialty restaurant, mini bar that will be restocked every day, free laundry, free pressing, free cleaning booths, canopies in the room, an espresso machine, and upgraded amenities. Sustainability, and I mentioned here that Albatros is very proud of its green heritage. First award, sustainability award in 1995. I just said in the introduction it was 1996, so it was even earlier, 1995. And the ship is clean ship certified with the least polluting engines in the world. Lower fuel consumption, lower emissions. Of course, we only use marine gas oil. That is sometimes mentioned by our competitors. Oh, we only use marine gas oil. Well, Albatros has not used heavy fuels at all in the last 5 years. So this really builds on our heritage, and also on board, I think we offer quite similar aspects that also our competitors are offering. So biodegradable chemical materials, laundry, onboard recycling, no single-use plastics, sustainable seafood. Where we probably go a little bit further is that we also offer a fair trade teas and coffees and as many fair trade products as possible. Here you've got the presentation lounge with, if you, it's hard to see here, but there is an no, this is not the presentation lounge. Sorry, this is the observation lounge, where there is an you can't see it that well from this area, but if you look well, completely in the back there is some kind of a grayish box, and that is what I call the second bridge, or the safe return to port backup possibility to actually steer the ship. That's a second on the right. This is the presentation lounge that will be named after Shackleton. Beautiful lounge, and what I really like about it, it's that it has also big windows. So not all the presentation lounges of the newer ships are having these windows, and for me it's important because at the same time when you give a presentation and a lecture, you can point out if you pass certain areas, and for me it's an important feature to have as an expedition vessel. The library. Personally, I'm not a library person, but it is popular with some of our guests. This is one more picture of the restaurant, the regular restaurant. The regular restaurant will have a separated area, and that's what you see here. We will be offering here the same menu, same service, but it's good to have a separate area in case you have different groups on board, and this could feature, a separation for 60 passengers if needed. A very spaceful bar lounge, which will be between the restaurant and the presentation lounge. One of the nice aspects of the ship is that the main public spaces, the presentation lounge, the restaurant, and the bar are located on the same deck, which means that the other decks have the cabins, so they will be more quiet, there will be less walking around. And here you can really create the old social atmosphere as we used to have on the small expedition vessels. We have also a nice gym, which will be on deck 8, like the Greg Mortimer, with beautiful windows. And personally, I'm always a bit disappointed when I see the amount of people on board of an expedition vessel actually working out. But then most of the gyms are completely put away in the depths of the ship. But hopefully, with the nice big windows and the nice views, this will encourage passengers to work out more. We have a small spa on board, just an one-person spa but with unique treatments. We have worked together with a spa company around it. So we have treatments like the midnight sun massage, fire and ice, and polar hydrating, just to adapt it a little bit to the expedition theme. Of course, we have a shop on board, and the shop is also located on the same deck as the restaurant, as the reception, as the bar, and the lecture room. And then this is the outdoor deck with the swimming pool and the jacuzzis. A very nice visual, and the number one question I'm always receiving with this visual is this a real fire? And the simple answer, no, there is no real fire on any ship. That's absolutely banned. So this is just a nice decoration element, a fake fire. Here you see another visual from the pool and the jacuzzis. The deck 9, it's another feature. I mentioned this to increase the observation space that we have on this vessel. So we try to be targeting different target groups. One of them is singles. So the ship has 5 dedicated single cabins. To be honest, I've already seen that is way too few. These single cabins are very, very popular, also probably because of the price point. So we actually will be getting a sister ship, the Ocean Albatros, in 2022, and we will be trying to increase the dedicated single cabins, which are small, but they offer just private bathroom, private bed, private facilities for single travelers. We also try to attract families, so we have an ability to have a third person in category A, which is the suite, or category C, which is the one of the regular cabin features. But we also have the ability to offer connecting door cabins. So the keel laying of the ship, that was back last year, but I've got a beautiful new video of actually the ship just being launched into the water. And this picture is actually, completely honest, it's from the Greg Mortimer. It's not our ship, but I was very impressed to walk around on the Greg Mortimer and see this bridge, which I thought was more the bridge of the spaceship Enterprise than an expedition vessel. It's very sophisticated. I will skip this slide. It's of course we have a very good content system on board with also Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi will be at a cost. I don't believe in free Wi-Fi in these areas, simply because that will clutter bandwidth and give you a reduced performance. So that is about the victory. Let me before I finish off with some other slides, let me talk a little bit about the Ocean Atlantic. So I have not included slides about the Atlantic here, but the Atlantic is again a sister ship of the Ocean Endeavour. So the Ocean Endeavour that operates now for Quark and for Adventure Canada, and will move next year to Chimu/Intrepid travel. So the ships are very similar. There are some differences in that sense, that the Ocean Atlantic was refurbished more recently, so is in a beautiful, nice condition. Yeah, the Atlantic and also the Endeavour, they have a lot of space, which is an attractive feature. A big mudroom, and yeah, they are Russian ships, so they are older, but as I said, they are in an excellent state, ice class 1B, and we operate the Atlantic both in Antarctica and in the Arctic. If I talk about itineraries, so in Antarctica we operate the 9-night Antarctica products. Then we have every year one Antarctic Circle product that is slightly longer, either 10 or 11 nights. And then we operate, of course, also the South Georgia voyages that are 17 or 18 nights, where we really use the speed of the vessel. This is a classic Russian vessel with 4 powerful engines. So we use that to, and not sail too long, but still have a good time in South Georgia as well. So in Antarctica, I would say from an itinerary perspective, not very different than our competitors. In the Arctic, we are. I mentioned that we are very much focused on Greenland, and for example, we have already a 5-night Greenland product where we visit the Disco Bay. And why a 5-night? Because we think it's an excellent opportunity to combine it with land arrangements, either in Greenland or in Iceland. But we also have longer trips. We are very much focused on Greenland and Svalbard, but we also have an Iceland circumnavigation. And to my surprise, and that has probably to do with our Scandinavian heritage, 2 very popular trips that we also do, and for us they are more than just repositioning, is at the beginning of the season a Dublin to either Aberdeen or Edinburgh voyage. So that is very much focused on Scotland and the Scotland Isles and Scotland festivals, and I also call it a little bit our whiskey trip. So as I said, this is more than just a repositioning, because usually we almost sell out this program, very popular. And then we do an Aberdeen or Edinburgh up to Iceland repositioning, but also that product is attracting more and more interest, especially because of the Scottish Isles, but also because of the Faroe Islands. So that's a short summary of our Arctic delivery. This slide talks about our hotel in Ilulissat in Greenland that we acquired 2 years ago, and we're currently upgrading it to a more better standard, including a kayaking base there. And on the left top, you see Hotel Konuk. That is not the current name. The current name is Hotel Wiedevalk, but we will rename it at the end of the year. But keep this between us. This is still one of our secrets. Ocean Victory deck plan. Let's not go into these details. So how do we work? So as I said, we are a family company. We are flexible. We are based in Copenhagen. So from a time perspective, we are a little bit misaligned with you guys. But you can always email us at our sales email address, and our turnaround time is within 24 hours. If you want to use a quick form or make a booking, you can use our tour inquiry form on our website. And as I also mentioned in the beginning, so in English markets, we are not selling B2C. So we only sell B2B, which means that on our regular website, you won't see any pricing. In order to see pricing, but also availability, you should request an agent login. And the number of agent logins is unlimited. So you don't need to have just one login at Adventure Life. No, every sales agent can just require this login. I would actually recommend this. And with this login, you've got access to our pricing, our itineraries, our schedules, our availability, our ship information, and much more. Then we are, of course, on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. We have a special small selected trade group, Albatros Expeditions Visionaries, that you can become a member of. And of course, if you have any questions for me, just send me an email. But I also hope that you have some questions for me now. So not sure how that works here.
If anybody wants to ask a question, they can just unmute themselves right now.
Hans, I'm curious if you, as you have these two new boats that are coming on, will the Ocean Atlantic continue to be kind of part of your operations, or will that be going away?
Well, it's a good question. So the Albatros comes in season 22-23, and if you see in our itineraries, we have not published a season for the Atlantic for 22-23. We keep the option open. So as said, we own the Atlantic, which means that we are open at this moment for all options. If someone wants to buy the ship from us for a good amount, you can buy it. If someone wants to charter it, we are interested in subchartering it from that time. But it depends on what the market is doing. We might put it again back in action for ourselves during that time. Uh, uh, for 3 months ago, I was way more positive about it. I would say, no, sure, we can grow to 3 ships. At this moment, I'm a little bit more careful. And maybe what a lot of people don't know actually about our company. So we not only are big in Scandinavia, but we also big in China. So we have our own office in China. We have 5 people working in that office. And if you see a lot of voyages not available for sales, that means that we have chartered them in China. So we only sell full charters in China. And yeah, we're actually quite successful there. Any more questions?
I think Hans, this is Mary.
Hey, Mary.
How you doing? Good to hear from you again.
Yeah.
I think one of our only challenges that we've run into so far, at least speaking for myself, has just been the availability lag time. Is there any plan to be able to make that more dynamic, where we can access it on our own, maybe make bookings online in some way so that we can set aside inventory when you guys are closed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the moment, so our availability sheets online in the agent login should be reasonable up to date. Of course, it's not live. I mentioned the reservation system. So our reservation system was not very sophisticated, but we have just implemented a new system, which means that as from next Antarctica season, so 2021, we will handle this system. We will serve all our bookings from that system. That system has the ability for an agent login. Now, I just want to manage expectations, especially now we have some other things on our mind. In order to roll that out, we need to have some manpower and trainings and work that out a little bit further. But I would say by probably the end of the year, we will be able to offer an agent login immediately into our system.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much. Yeah, that'd be a huge help.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jane. In regards to willing to share cabins, I'm kind of newer to the product. I don't know if you mentioned it. Which cabins are able to be shared on the
Yes.
Ocean Atlantic and the newer ship?
Yes. So our triple cabins, they are single share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the triple cabins, not the twins or anything like that.
Yeah. Of course, if people organize it themselves, or if for example you have 2 independent single travelers that want to share a regular cabin, no problem. But we have only dedicated our triples as single shares, where we hold the risk.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? Maybe to finish off, but I don't know how to do this. As I said, I have. No, I don't see this. So I have a video, and I can send this probably to you, and you can share it within the team. It's a video that was taken just 2 weeks ago with the launch of the Ocean Victory in China. Yeah, I will send it to you, and then you can share it with the team. I think it's a very nice video, and we have kept this to ourselves at the moment because of how the industry is, the state of the industry. But please feel free to share it within the team.
That'd be great, Hans. This is Mary again. I was also wondering, you kind of alluded to some of your land programs. Is that something that you'll eventually be offering B2B for us to be able to sell Greenland land programs, for example, or anything along those lines?
Absolutely, you can start now. So if you go to the website Albatros Arctic Circle, or it's actually Arctic Circle, so it's www.aac.gl. There you can see all our trips, all our accommodations, all our possibilities.
And is that something that we'll need to figure out the commissions on to be able to put on our website, or can we default to the same commissions that we're getting with the cruise products?
That's a really good question, because of course the margins on these products are a bit lower. But yeah, just assume your current commissions for that. And if I don't earn too much money on it, then I will shout.
That sounds like a good start, yeah, because we have to offer commission to travel agents if we put it on our site.
Yeah.
But that would be really handy to have some of these up there. I think it'd be an interesting draw.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And fairly said, it is a fantastic product. So when I left Cork, I was not a Greenland expert, because I always tried to avoid it. I thought, I go for the wildlife destinations, but a place like Ilulissat is, for me, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think it'd be phenomenal. I went there on a cruise, but that was it. So I'd love to spend more time.
Yeah, and also I'm slowly discovering, because we have so many assets there. There's so much there to discover. So the summer months are fantastic from a whale perspective. So you've got whales basically in the bay, in the harbor. When you go out kayaking, always whales around you. But interesting, I just learned for January, they have a very cultural nice festival over there when they celebrate the return of the sun. The first time the sun will go up, which is, I think, January 16. So much to explore, which I never heard about it before.